Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse podcast here at MODEX 2026. Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse podcast here at MODEX 2026, and I am in the OPEX booth right now, and we're going to learn a little bit from John Sauer here about what they're showing in the booth, what's new from OPEX, and how it can help you with some of the challenges in your warehouse operation. So, John, how's it going so far? Day one.
Day one so far, so good. Got some new technologies on display. We have some old friends coming to visit us. We have some new friends coming to visit us.
All right.
Our ownership is on the floor with us today. As you know, we're a privately held company.
Yeah.
Last year was our 50th year as a business, so we're in year 51.
Happy birthday. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Yeah. And so our CEO and his sons are here with us today, showcasing our new technologies.
All right, fantastic. And for people that are not familiar with OPEX, why don't you give us kind of a brief overview of what it is y'all do?
Yeah, so OPEX is a bit unique as an OEM manufacturer in that we design our solutions and we also manufacture them in our facilities. So heavy industry, paint, weld, things of that nature, and then full assembly, and then post sale and post completion of project, we offer service for our customers. And what's unique about OPEX, because we manufacture our systems ourselves, we've never end of life the product. So when a customer buys a solution from OPEX, we stand behind the performance of that system as long as they have it.
Interesting. And I know you guys manufacture in the U.S.
We do.
Close by me in New Jersey, right?
Yes, we do, yeah.
So I've been there to the facility and visited, very nice. But tell us a little bit about, why is that a little bit of a differentiator in the market?
Well, so the fact that we have very mature relationships with our suppliers, and we leverage a lot of our local suppliers, we've been able to isolate ourselves a bit from what's going on in the rest of the world, from energy costs, steel costs, and things of that nature. We also, since we control not only our own supply chain but our own manufacturing, we can still deliver products and solutions to customers in faster lead times than even we've seen in the past. So we've leaned out a bit on a lot of our product lines, or production product lines. So we're delivering solutions faster than ever before. For instance, the 5-pound short sort, we could deliver those in about 3 months at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect pick. Gets the person solutions are under a 12-month lead time from the time an order is placed. So
nice.
Because we can control our destiny in manufacturing, and we can find efficiencies and things of that nature, we're getting closer and closer to the quickest lead time out there for a goods to person technology.
Yeah, that's great to hear. And definitely makes a lot of sense, right, when you're keeping that close. So now tell us a little bit about, as you're here, I mean, this is day one, right? But we're in the afternoon, so you certainly seen some traffic, talked to some people, and even leading up to the show. What are some of the challenges that you're seeing, like in the industry, or that you're hearing from these people?
Yeah, so a lot of what we're seeing these days is customers are faced with the challenge of scalability, and a lot of conversations are in brownfield warehouses, right? So I don't want to go buy a new piece of real estate. I can't buy a new piece of real estate. I want to operate within my existing building. I want to invest in a technology that'll scale and grow as I scale and grow. Which all of our solutions do that from either a storage perspective or a speed perspective. So those challenges are always, they're kind of always been the same. Some of the new challenges now is like additional ways to automate the retrieval of a bin on a short sort wall, right? With our extract technology. Reducing the labor, the headcount for this system is always a target for our customers. And then our software integration solutions have expanded. So we've continued to be as flexible as we can with our customers, whether it's utilizing our API to control the solutions directly, or having us do a full integration and everything in between to kind of tailor the solution to the customer's needs and what their comfort level is from an IT perspective. And again, obviously we can bring in any of our partners to help support those efforts as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very interesting to see, and interesting to hear how you're kind of addressing some of those challenges as well. So now you mentioned showing off some new technology here in the booth. So let's talk about that. What do we have right behind us here?
So this looks like a Short Sort X. We've launched that a few years ago. Obviously, the legacy 5-pound max weight Short Sort system is much more mature. It's actually 11 years old on the market now. Short Sort X handles 20-pound product. But what we found is customers still have a gap in the sortability of certain items. So Sure Sort X, 20-pound product, up to 18 inches long, 14 inches wide, 8 inches high, 2,100 units sorted per hour. But I couldn't sort everything because there's non-conveyable items, right? Like a bowling ball, a soccer ball. We always handle cylindrical items, but now we can handle round items. So if you look at the system, we have a cleated belt on the induction side. And items are delivered to iBots that also have cleats on both sides of them to retain that product as it travels through the aisle, whether it's, again, a spherical item. You can see we're not being very picky on how he places them down into the aisle and then sorted to the location. This does slow the system down a bit, which to about 1,000 units per hour, which opens up a universal robot being able to do induction to this conveyor belt. So you could potentially get to humanless induction, and then we already have humanless sweeping.
A robotic arm.
Yeah, robotic arm can place on that cleated belt. We still take it through the 6-sided scan tunnel, capture barcodes on the item, and then deliver it to the destination it's assigned. Once the order is complete, the extract bot goes into effect, goes and pulls the order back into the aisle, and then can either deliver those contents to a shipping container through an RVT module, or we can take it to our Tote.io module, which basically delivers it to conveyance that you can take it to external pack stations or for void fill and things of that nature.
Interesting, yeah. And I'm watching some of the items that he's putting in here, and some of them are like, they're round, right? So they're moving around a lot. Right. So pretty impressive that it's still capturing what it needs to capture and be able to move that through the system. And did I hear you say you can put a bowling ball in here? Yeah,
that's correct. So that was the goal when the client approached us and said, "This is what the machine needs to do." We want to
somebody's shipping bowling balls.
Well, that was the spec. So we had a 16-pound bowling ball that we ran through the system to make sure it could accomplish that. But you see, it also gives you a very, very precise control over the items, which is important when you look at certain industries like pharmaceutical. And things of that nature. Now, we have this system deployed successfully in several areas, but one that comes to mind is cosmetics. And if you think about the breadth of the various sizes of cosmetics, we have to be able to accurately sort an eyeliner pencil all the way up to larger tubs of facial creams and things of that of the like. And this system can easily handle all those.
Yeah, fascinating. And I think really interesting to hear kind of the variation in different types of products, shapes, sizes, form factors that can now move through this. So this is the Sure Sort X, right? So
correct.
Now let's go to the other side of the booth and check out the Infinity.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. All right, so now we are on the other side of OPEX's booth, and we are going to check out the Infinity. So John, tell us about Infinity.
Yeah, so behind us is our latest version of our goods-to-person technology called Infinity. It is a bin-based ASRS solution, where it's grid storage as opposed to our traditional Perfect Pick, which was an aisle-based storage. And what we've released in 2022 was our dual-port presentation station, where inventory totes would be removed from the structure, the grid structure, brought to external workstations and present to an operator. So this allowed us to scale the system much differently than Perfect Pick would have scaled. So for instance, in a Perfect Pick world, I'm limited to maybe 12,000 totes per aisle in a double deep storage system. But if I needed 100,000 bins, I was forced to go to 9 aisles to do that. And if I had my workstations associated with those aisles, I had to either route order containers from aisle to aisle to aisle or man all those stations. So to scale that system properly on lower volumes, you could actually have like 100,000 bins in an Infinity grid feeding one station, right? So the scalability of throughput to storage, that ratio grew significantly when we went to Infinity. What we did find is a lot of people wanted more control over how the totes would be dealt with from the human perspective. So the dual port presentation station wasn't ideal for their operations. So we're going to go, what we're doing now at this show is we're revealing our Tote.io solution, which we'll go look at the back. Another additions to this system this year, we unlocked the ability to go 38.5 feet tall, which gets us to that 40-foot clear height maximum. So we're going right up to that ceiling height where we were limited at 32.5 feet in prior years. And the success of this product, a lot of it is coming from the weight capacity. It can carry 90 pounds of product in a bin, which is really high for ASRS bin style solutions. So we've had good success with deployments over the last couple of years. We've expanded what the system could do with the implementation of the tote IO functionality that we'll look at in the back, along with a dimensioning of totes and weight capture on totes. So we're going to take a look at that next.
Interesting. All right, so very interesting, and obviously, a lot of density from the storage perspective,
Correct.
but then getting down to, as you mentioned, from the perfect pick, now getting down to more throughput, right, at one station versus the other, I think makes a lot of sense. So let's go to the other side. Let's check out the new tote IO you just talked about and see what that's all about. All right, so now we are on the other side of the Infinity system, and we're gonna check out the new tote IO setup. So tell us a little bit about this, John, and what do we see here?
Sure. So on the other side of the machine, we looked at our dual port presentation station, which historically was able to support 325 bin presentations per hour to the operator. Right. And that was traditionally used for e-commerce fulfillment or each picking, where we found customers that had a demand for either handling cartons or handling their own totes with their product and to support their own production facilities. So again, the 90-pound unlock for heavy industry was a big deal for the continued success of this solution. But in order for us to be able to meet their needs to build the perfect pallet in near real time, we have to eject the totes from our aisle structure and let their folks interface with it outside of our grid. So here what we're seeing is a 2-port tote IO station. What we would put in the marketplace would be a 4-port that would allow us to achieve 450 transactions per hour for the IO station. Obviously, we can have multiple IO stations along the side of the grid to be able to support higher throughput rates. But basically, the tote leaves the system. We can drive pick through our UI, or the customer can develop their own through APIs. Once the product is removed or the tote is done being dealt with by the people that are working on it, it comes back in. We scan it for dimensioning purposes. We put it across a scale on the inbound to make sure we don't exceed that 90-pound, and then the tote gets stored back in the system for when the customer needs it again.
Interesting. So it allows you to do much more with the items than just do the individual piece picking, right? And allows you to go further out into the operation if you need to be able to do that. But I also see here that there's multiple different, I guess, form factors of tote, or it looks like trays in a sense, right? And this is all going into the same system, right?
That's correct. So this system can be configured for our multiple bin types. We have the footprint's always the same, 20 inches by 30 inches, which is a very large ISRS bin, as you can see. And then we have our tray, which can be separated. Dividers can be installed to create separations on that tray. Okay. And then we have an 8-inch tall, 10-inch tall, 12-inch tall, and 14-inch tall bin. These bins also have conveyor-friendly bottoms on them. So it's a nice flat surface for easy conveyability.
So easy to roll against, yeah.
And then we also have spent a lot of time, energy, and effort with FM Global and understanding their rules for flow rates. So we can operate with fewer lines of in-rack sprinkler in most cases.
Interesting. So what are you seeing are the most, I guess, applications for this? Like, what's the average application that somebody would utilize this?
We've been heavily focused on a few customers that are doing industrial manufacturing. So supporting their supply lines in real time with necessary parts to continue, their product flowing off the line. So it's OPEX, again, family-owned company, fairly small in our size. We have a really good balance of where our production capabilities are versus what we're actually doing. So it's a very healthy balance at this point. We'd like to grow it. We can grow it if we have to, but right now we're doing pretty well with our current order volumes and capacities.
All right, fantastic. So fantastic to see the tote IO, and love the ability to now go further out into the operation and have more flexibility with that and the type of product that you're putting in there, and also seeing the different trays that can go into the system as well. I know we got one more thing to look at here in the booth, and we're going to take this Infinity to another level from a temperature perspective. So let's go check that out.
Let's go check it out.
All right, so now we are checking out the last thing here at the OPEX booth, and I don't know, maybe this might be the coolest thing in the booth? Maybe,
definitely the coolest, yeah.
So tell us about, what is this right here, this Peltier device, or this tote?
This is an IoT device that is basically a powered cooler with full capabilities to go to either chilled or to -4 Fahrenheit for frozen.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So what we do, we've been approached by customers to be able to create a system, an ASR solution that will support ambient, chilled, and frozen for grocery. Buy online, pick up in store groceries. However, we've seen in the past some of our medical surgical distribution companies have a small cooler in their facility. They have a need for chilled, they have a need for frozen.
Right.
Additionally, by lowering the amount of inventory that's sometimes very, very valuable, instead of your whole cold room being controlled, you could break it down into smaller groups, exposing less product to damage if there is an incident. So a couple different approaches on why we think this is going to be attractive to customers. But basically what we do is these devices will be stored inside of our racking structures on either Perfect Pick or Infinity.
Okay.
They both support that. Customer's product would live inside. It can open from both sides, the lid. So if I'm picking, or the lid comes off,
it comes off.
You can pull out, you get a drink if you'd like. Grab a bottle of water. You see it's a nice cool temperature.
It is very cold, actually. Yeah.
So the idea was, and while our iBots would transport it on this tray that's outfitted to when it's stored in location, it's receiving the necessary power to maintain its charge. It does have obviously its own batteries to maintain it while it's out off of its docking station, but the docking stations will apply the power and full feedback to the customer's central control system on the health of that tote and the temperatures within that tote.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating, definitely the technology to be able to do that. So that's going to go into the system along with like just ambient totes as well.
Correct.
Can be all together.
So you could have frozen, chilled, and ambient all in the same structure. And we've been working in cooler environments with our goods to person solutions for nearly a decade.
Yeah.
And we did that with Tote IO. So we put Perfect Pick aisles inside of a cooler, and we're able to IO the totes to an ambient area where pickers were comfortable.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
However, if you don't need all storage chilled or frozen, and you only need like if you look at a general merchandise or a grocery chain, the percentage that's chilled versus frozen versus ambient varies slightly.
Yeah.
But you don't need all frozen or all chilled. So blending that all into one structure makes it very efficient and very flexible.
Yeah. I mean, it's super interesting, and obviously, super flexible, like you said too, and be able to mix that together, right? Then you don't have to necessarily have one system for ambient, one system for refrigerated, one system for frozen, right? So I imagine that streamlines the operation quite a bit too as well. So fantastic to learn about everything here that you guys are doing at OPEX and see some of the new technologies as well. Always thinking very innovatively. So appreciate you showing us around and telling us everything about OPEX here at the show. So if people want to learn more, what's the best way to do that?
OPEX.com, or come visit us here at B13704, I think it is.
There you go. We'll put all that information at thenewwarehouse.com as well as in the show notes. So John, thank you once again for the time today.
Thank you, Kev. It's always a pleasure.
Good to see you. Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video here on our YouTube channel, The New Warehouse Podcast, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you liked what you saw, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video in particular, make sure you like it as well. And if you want to get this great t-shirt that you see in the video behind me, Warehouses Are Sexy, head to warehousesAreSexy.com and get your own.